Divine Grace is the Bhaktivedanta Swami, Sri Romapada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavendra ki, Shri Shri Balaram Jayanti Maha Mahotsav ki, Gaur Premanandi. The people that raised their hand, I'm curious about the audience here so I can speak appropriately. Anyone here, there were some people that were here for the first time. Anyone in the audience just now that's here for the first time? Welcome. Howdy, as they say in Texas. One of the places that I visit is the University of Texas in Austin. And that's their phrase, is howdy. You go into the elevator, the door opens, there's a recording that says, howdy. So, welcome. Texas style, that is. Hare Krishna, the ISKCON style. So, Balaram. Do you know who is Krishna? Do you know who is Krishna? Speaker of Bhagavad Gita?
Yes.
You've heard of these?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I know that.
Okay. We're going to speak about Krishna's brother, Balaram. So, Krishna is the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matapsarvam pravartate. Krishna says, everything comes from me, I'm the source of everything. It says it forwards and backwards. That from which everything comes, the source of everything, is Krishna, according to Bhagavad Gita. So everything includes everything. We'll say it negatively. There's not something other than Krishna and that which comes from Krishna. There's no void in the creation of God, because void would mean there's something where there's nothing. And then there's something, then there'll be something that doesn't come from God. There's no such thing. There's two things. The source of everything and everything that comes from that source. And one of the things that comes from that source is Krishna's first expansion was Balaram. Balaram is, as Krishna's first expansion, is also absolute, or is absolute as Krishna is absolute. And there's only this little difference. Krishna's form, his spiritual form, has a luster like a dark rain cloud, a dark monsoon cloud. Shama. So, Shama Sundara. So, Balaram, his complexion is like milk, white. And so otherwise they're the same. Shama and white color, milk color, snow color. And there's one other difference, and that is Balaram, he loves serving Krishna. And Krishna loves the relationship he has with Balaram and reciprocates in the love that Balaram has for him by receiving that love that he offers to him. The mood of Balaram is a mood of service to Krishna. And that mood of service that we as living entities have is derived from the mood of Balaram and serving Krishna. There's a very nice statement I like about Lord Balaram that's described in Krishna book. Krishna book is the book that summarizes the entire 10th canto. And in chapter 2 of the 10th canto, there's prayers as Krishna is in the womb of Devaki before he makes his appearance. There's demigods surrounding Devaki offering beautiful prayers, and this is chapter 2, taken from there. One cannot attain the supreme platform of self-realization without being sufficiently favored by Balarama. Bala does not mean physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength, which is infused by Balarama or Sankarshana. Bala means spiritual strength. In a general sense, it means strength. But in the case of Balarama, it means specifically spiritual strength, although material strength is an expansion or a reflection of the original spiritual strength of Balaram. And this other term, Sankarshana, those of you from India, you know the term Sankarshana. It's one of the 4 of the Chaturvyuha, the 4 personalities who are using a British term, probably, but sometimes refer aides to camp. So like there's a general, and the general has his chief assistants for aides to camp. So that's the French term, aides to camp. And the Sankarshana, Pradumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva, these are the Chaturvyuha, and amongst those, the Chaturvyuha, Sankarshana, or even more specifically, Maha Sankarshana, the Sankarshana for which all the Sankarshanas of the Vaikuntha realm expand. This is Balaram. So he's like Krishna, the source of all expansions that come into this spiritual and the material realm. We need Bala. We need Balaram in order to be successful in spiritual life. So there's our Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and he gets equal time, Rama with Krishna. There's this interesting description or discussion in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's a book that you're not familiar with, you're new. It's a description of Lord Chaitanya's life and teachings. In any case, here's the reference. If someone says that Rama in the Hari Rama is Lord Ramachandra, and someone else says that Rama in Hari Rama is Sri Balaram, both are correct, because there's no difference between Sri Balarama and Lord Rama. Now, there's obviously a difference because there's different names and there's different pastimes, so there's differences in that sense, but ontologically there's no difference. They're the same. This is Prabhupada's purport. Here in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita we find that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has stated the same conclusion. Ye rupe jnane se ahakani sakala sambhave Krishna kichu mitya nahi. In whatever form, this is nice, in whatever form one knows the Lord, one speaks of Him in that way. In this there is no falsity, since everything is possible in Krishna. Now, those of you that are familiar with Chaitanya Charitamrita, this Adi Lila chapter 5 is a discussion about Balarama. The whole chapter is about Balarama. And so in this Hare Krishna mantra, that Rama can mean Lord Ramachandra, or it can mean Lord Balaram. Because everything is possible in Krishna. If someone calls Lord Ramachandra by the vibration Hare Rama, understanding it to mean, oh, Lord Ramachandra, he is quite right. Simply if one says that Hare Rama means, oh, Sri Balarama, he is also right. Those who are aware of the Vishnu Tattva do not fight over all these details. The Vishnu Tattva, for the newer guests, Vishnu Tattva means the truths, or the essences about this category of entities called Vishnu Tattva. So Krishna, Balaram, Lord Ramachandra, Lord Nrsimhadev, etc. These forms, they're in the Vishnu Tattva category. So there's differences of lila and differences of form, rupa, but the essence is Vishnu Tattva category. Here's a very nice painting that I've grown very fond of, and I'll share something on a personal level with you. Some years ago, I was in Houston, Texas, where they say howdy, where I was taking part in Balaram's appearance day, Balaram Jayanti. And when I was there, they have a sannyas quarters, and the room where I was staying has this painting, bigger than what you see on the screen here. It's a really big print of an original painting. And while I was there, I was in the mood of Balaram's appearance. And so as I was regarding this painting, this is Balaram down here on our right, and Krishna holding the flute over here on our left. And so when calling Hare Rama, I was thinking, oh, Balarama, please give me the strength necessary to carry out my devotional service. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. While looking at the painting, and I found my arms started just lifting in the air as I was calling his name. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, appealing for the strength to carry out my service. But then there was the first half of the mantra, Krishna. But Krishna's name means all attractive. Krishna, all attractive. So that part of the mantra became, oh, all attractive Krishna, please attract my mind to you. Subtext, my mind is really distracted. But you're all attractive, please attract my mind to you. So I didn't have to say the whole thing, just that was the mood. So, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And again, my arms are like reaching and then receiving. And it's just, my job just flew by. I was there for about a week. And every morning, so I was having this relationship with the painting. And the names, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. So I started carrying an image on this painting, at least the bottom part. If you look, there's, in the back, there's cows and cowherd boys in the river Jamuna and beautiful trees. And by the feet of Krishna and Balaram, there's toys, and there's fruit, and Krishna's stick, Balaram's stick, peacocks. So it's a very beautiful, detailed painting. Pushkar Prabhu, I don't know if it was just like what was the artist, very talented. And so, for me, this painting has special significance. Balarama or Sankarshan is the source of all spiritual power, or the original spiritual master. So, there are persons in the course of history who have performed the service or function of spiritual master. That spiritual master function is an expansion or empowered by Balaram. Anyone who in the course of history has performed that function in a proper way has received some special power or potency or capacity to carry out that function by Lord Balaram. Say negatively, without that empowerment, one cannot perform that function. When they carry a title, but without the empowerment, there's no power. Just like an electric cable is not plugged into the wall. You gotta plug it into the wall. You have to pay your electric bill too. And then you can deliver electricity. He's the original spiritual master. So, for example, in Bhagavad Gita, we find in chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, right? Bhagavad Gita? Our friend that says first time visitor over here, Bhagavad Gita. But in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, there's this discussion, and Arjuna and Krishna, they're friends. So they're having a friendly conversation. And in the course of that friendly conversation, they're like people do with their friends. They have a conversation. And one says this, the other says that, and they don't necessarily agree, and there's no solution. Just having a friendly conversation. But Arjuna reaches the point in that conversation, by the time it reaches the beginning part of chapter 2, he is having all these negative emotions about his duty and being bewildered and so forth. His body is trembling, his whole body is perspiring. He's a great hero and his bow slips from his hands. He can't stand up, he sits down. He lost it. And he turns to his friend, Krishna, and says, paraphrasing, enough friendly talks, please, you serve as my spiritual master. Shishya's teham shadi mam fam karpanam. Shishya, I'm your Shishya, your disciple, you're my spiritual master. Please instruct me, what is my duty? And then Krishna, the role changes from friend to spiritual master, disciple. And when Krishna speaks, it's Sri Bhagavan Vacha, it's Krishna speaking, but it's Balaram speaking through Krishna. He's the original spiritual master. He's giving shiksha, or instruction, to his shishya, his disciple, Balaram. Balaram is speaking. Or take another circumstance when Prabhupada was speaking from the Vyasa. He was speaking, he's the instrument through which Balaram was speaking, but it's Balaram speaking. tell you a little Prabhupada story. How much, I can elaborate a little bit and tell stories, yes? Sure, okay. Your permission also, everyone? It's a nice story. You'll like it. In Sridham Mayapur, Mayapur is world headquarters of my Krishna movement, where Lord Chaitanya made his appearance. So one time during a festival time, Prabhupada was lecturing on the first verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita because they're like sutra-like capsule, packed up little verses that take chapters of the Chaitanya Charitamrita to explain. Each morning he was taking the next verse. So one morning, he was speaking about, some people say, oh, I'm never going to be as fortunate as Arjuna, because Arjuna, he was able to hear directly from Krishna, and he became enlightened, but I'll never have the chance to directly hear from Krishna. So, what's the use? No hope. And then Prabhupada said, no, it's not so. The fact is, when Krishna says, surrender unto me, sarva dharma parityaja, mamekam sharanam vraja, aham tvam sarva papebhyo, moksha yishyami ma suchama. When Krishna says, surrender unto me, and the spiritual master says, surrender to Krishna, it's Krishna speaking. And then he said it again. When Krishna says, I'll do it, he did it 3 times. When Krishna says, surrender to me, and the spiritual master says, surrender to Krishna, it's Krishna speaking. When Krishna says, surrender to me, and the spiritual master says, surrender to Krishna, it's Krishna speaking. And he said about 2 or 3 other words, and he went into a trance. Right there in front of us, on the Vyasa-sthana, his eyes closed, his facial skin started to sag, and his body started swaying like there was a wind blowing and he was moving like this. He was still sitting, but he was in a trance. We didn't know what to do. What would you do if your spiritual master went into trance? So we just like... And then one devotee, after a minute or so, whatever, it seemed like a long time, he stood up and very softly started playing Mridanga and chanting Hare Krishna. And he got through 1.5 Hare Krishna mantras. And then Prabhupada opened his eyes. His facial skin took its normal shape. He looked around the room, got up from the Vyasa-sthana and went up to his quarters. Class was over. I was there for that one. One other time, he was singing Jai Radha Madhava, just as we did at the beginning, and he did the same thing. He just went into a trance. And then when he get to the class, it was just, class was over, just for Jai Radha Madhava. When the spiritual master is speaking, the absorption, this is my understanding of what was taking place. As Prabhupada was explaining, he was experiencing, Krishna was speaking. He said it 3 times. He was just like a trumpet. So that's the instrument making the sound. But it's just an instrument. It's the person who's moving the keys and making the wind go through the instrument that's making the sound. It's the instrument that's making the sound, but it's the player of the instrument is making the sound. So the spiritual master is the instrument, And the person speaking is Balaram. He's not only long ago he was Krishna's spiritual master, he's still the Krishna's spiritual master, even in the present moment. That's Balaram in our life today. The source of all spiritual power. So much does he have this enthusiasm to serve Krishna that he manifests himself in each of the 5 different rasas. So for those of you that are newer, what does that mean? According to the teaching of the Vedas, there are 5 primary and other secondary relationships with the source of everything. One of those relationships is neutrality, or awe and veneration. Seeing the majesty or Aishvarya feature of the Lord. And one seeing that enters into this mood of awe and veneration. Shantarasa. And then the second one is dasya. Let me do something for that Lord. Sakya, friendship, intimacy beyond service. Vatsalya, parental affection and conjugal or intimacy of love and conjugal love. 5 primary and other secondary rasas. The Balaram is so enthusiastic and comprehensive in service. He manifests all of those different rasas and forms. For example, over here there's a mridanga. For those of you that are newer, mridanga is this unusually shaped drum. Thick, wider on one end and skinnier on the other end, and 2 ends. It's a clay with straps. But when Prabhupada came to America, he didn't have mridanga. He only had what Americans had at that time, which was a little simple drum. So somebody, after some year or so, going to India, Prabhupada told them to purchase one mridanga and bring it back when you come. He told them where to go, he told them what it looked like, and they brought it back. And he was, at the time, when they returned, he was in Los Angeles. He was seated on a little cushion and a desk, sit in a seated position, not a chair, but on the floor cushion and a little desk. And when the person came with the mridanga, Prabhupada immediately stood up, went before the mridanga and paid his obeisances before the mridanga. He took his uttariya, his outer cloth, and wrapped it around the mridanga and gestured to the mridanga and said, "This is Balaram." Because the paraphernalia that Krishna uses in his pastimes in Vrindavan, anywhere, that's Balaram. He expands as his shoes, he expands as his crown, he expands as his garments, he expands as his bed, Sheshanath, Anantashesh. These are expansions of Balaram, everything. The trees, the Chintamani gems that make up the spiritual world, and you name it, that's Balaram's spiritual potency. Shanta, Rasa. Dasya, he serves. Sakya, he's his brother. Vatsalya, he's his older brother, that older brothers sometimes take on a function and mood like father to the younger brother. Sometimes, especially in cultured families. The younger brothers look up to the older brother acts like the father for the younger brothers. So Balaram would function like that in his mood of love and service to Krishna. And shown in this photograph here. This is a deity of Radha Gopinath by the side of Radha Kund. This is in Vrindavan. At the northern end of Govardhan Hill is Radha Kund Shamkund. And by the bank of Radha Kund is a Radha Gopinath deity temple. And over here is Ananga Manjari. And Ananga Manjari is the younger sister of Radharani. Did you know that Radharani had a younger sister? Did you know that she had an older brother? Sridham. Sridham is Radharani's older brother, and Radharani had a younger sister. The younger sister's name, Ananga Manjari. It is said that Ananga Manjari is an extension of Lord Balaram because he wants to intimately serve Radha Krishna. So he takes that form, Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Radharani. And so on the altar over here, this is Ananga Manjari. And this is Gopinath, and that's Radharani. So Balaram really likes service, so much so he manifests by his spiritual potency in each of those 5 different ways, different primary rasas. He loves service. And from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, we find out what are the 4 occupations, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And the occupations of a Vaishya are Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijam. Krishi means agriculture, Goraksha is cow protection, and Vanijam is business, trade and commerce. Vanijam. So Balaram carries the plow, and this post is used to help harness the oxen, because that's one of the 3 main occupations, agriculture. Krishna carries the flute, Goraksha. Now, Balaram wants to assist Krishna, so he goes with him for herding and protecting the cows. What does the flute have to do with cow protection? I'll tell you a little story. It's a nice story. I like it. Those of you that have not been to Vrindavan yet, you're in for a really great delight. And one of the 3 places that you go, besides the temples in downtown Vrindavan, is Govardhan Hill. Gotta go to Govardhan Hill. Varsana, which is the place where Radharani lived, and the place where Krishna lived, Nandagram. And Varsana and Nandagram are up on, everything else is flat. This is little hillock. And there's 5 different parts of Nandagram, but in any case. So Krishna every morning would leave Nandagram, go out herding the cows, and then in the evening time, before the sun was set, they'd come back. And just very close by Nandagram, the place where Nanda Maharaja lived, is a grove of Kadamba trees. Kadamba is a very tall tree. They have a very nice Kadamba flower. It's a nice tree. A whole grove of them. And Krishna would climb up one of the Kadamba trees and call on his flute the names of the groups of the cows, because there were 900,000 cows and a lot of calves too. And so they were grouped according to their appearance. And they had names for the groups, and by the flute, Krishna would call the names of the groups of cows. His flute was pretty magical. He did lots of things, but that's one of the things. And the cows would just wail. Their ears would go up and their tails would go up, and they'd run, would wait to hear Krishna call them their group's names, and come running and running and running. Out of love for Krishna, because they have affection. All living entities in Vrindavan have love for Krishna like anything, in one of the 5 primary rasas. And cows, of course, they have a combined relationship of parental affection. They give their milk, but it's also dasya. They like to serve, so their cows are really happy. And they love to hear the sound of Krishna's flute because they hear the name of their group of cows being called. And sometimes, if there's one or another cow missing out of the group, Krishna will play on his flute again and call the name of that particular cow through his flute. Her ears go up and her tail goes up. She comes running. Cow protection and agriculture, because they were from the Vaishya community, cowherd community. Now, those of you that do come often or regularly, you know that we, at the end of Arati, we sing this Nrsimha prayer. That's what we call it. It's a series of prayers by Jayanti Swami discussing the Das avatar, the 10 primary Leela avatars of Krishna. And one of them is Balaram, one of them is Nrsimha, but one of them is Balaram, and here's the Balaram song. Now, let's see what happens with our technology, because there's a recording that you are going to hear if the technology works properly, and you can sing along. But it's a little tricky because it's one of those female vocalists that goes all over the place with the melody and the words. It's not like a straight line. It's kind of like a snake moving from point A to point B. Should I do it again?
Yes.
I'm not going to do it a third time. But I'll read the translation. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of plow-wielding Balaram, all glories to you. On your brilliant white body, you wear garments colored like a fresh rain cloud, and the river Jamuna, whom you frighten with the blows of your plow. So the reference, frightening the river Jamuna with the blows of his plow, has to do with after Krishna and Balaram were taken by Akrura from Vrindavan to the capital, Mathura. The residents of Vrindavan were beset with great anxiety, in the mood of love and separation from Krishna, and Balaram knew it. Of course, Krishna knew too. But Balaram made a visit to Vrindavan with the intent to pacify the hearts of the residents of Vrindavan. And he spent over a month. And one of the things that he did when he was there was very much like Krishna had rasa dance with a set of gopis, Balaram had rasa dance with another set of the gopis on the full moon night. And after the rasa dance, he was very fond of a very special beverage called Varuni beverage. Varuni is a kind of transcendental honey. And he was really into drinking this Varuni beverage, so much so that he appeared to be a little tipsy. And at a certain point he wanted to take his bath in the river Jamuna, so he requested the river Jamuna to come to him. And she saw this tipsy fellow and she come to him. So Balaram showed transcendental emotion. With his plow, he started pulling the river Jamuna to come to him. And as he was pulling the river Jamuna, personified Jamuna came from the Jamuna River and fell at the feet of Lord Balaram and offered very beautiful prayers. And here's some of those prayers. Rama, Rama, oh, mighty armed one, I know nothing of your prowess. With a single portion of yourself, Ekamshena, you hold up the earth. Oh, Lord of the universe, oh, soul of the universe, I didn't understand your position as the Supreme Godhead, but now I have surrendered unto you. And you are always kind to your devotees. So Balaram put his plow down and took his bath in the river Jamuna, and everything was nice. So in addition to this pastime in agriculture, using this plow for plowing the field, there's another event where the powerful plow of Balaram was used, and it had to do with one of Krishna's grandsons. So who was Krishna's first wife? Raise your hand, don't just say it out loud. The first of Krishna's queens. Her name was Rukmini, right? Rukmini. And who was Rukmini's first son? Aniruddha. Aniruddha was the first son. And who was the first son of Aniruddha? Starts with an S. Samba. Samba. So Samba heard about the daughter of Duryodhana. And she was going to have a swine bar ceremony. The Samba went to the swine bar ceremony of Duryodhana's daughter, and he kidnapped her, like Krishna had kidnapped Rukmini. Duryodhana was furious. And he sent a whole army, and it was a big battle, an army against Samba. Samba fought valiantly, but they surrounded him and captured him, put him in jail. Somebody sent a text message to Ugrasena saying Samba's in jail, Duryodhana's jail. Ugrasena was insulted. Gather the entire Yadu army. We're going to go and this is long before the Kurukshetra battle. We're going to destroy and annihilate the whole city of Hastinapur, especially Duryodhana. Now, one of the things that Balaram likes to do, some people like to do, and Balaram is original, he's a peacemaker. So he said, don't send the whole army, let me go first. I have this nice relationship with Duryodhana, and I'm really good at making peace, so let me take a few ministers, let me see if I can make a peaceful solution. So Ugrasena said, give it a try, but it doesn't work. So Balaram went, and to go from Dwarka to Hastinapur is not around the corner. So they journeyed, and they made it to Hastinapur. And the ministers and Balaram set up a camp outside the city, and a messenger was sent to go and let Duryodhana know that they had arrived. So he sent some of his ministers to receive, oh, Balaram, what good fortune you come. Please tell us what King Duryodhana can do for the purpose of the visit. He said, yes, I want Samba released, and Samba should marry Duryodhana's daughter. Ooh. So they went back and told Duryodhana, and he refused, adamant, intense. Don't trigger Balaram, you're in trouble. Balaram took his club and started dragging the entire city of Hastinapur towards the Ganga, drowned the city of Hastinapur in Ganga. And Duryodhana had a little awakening. Oh, I've offended Balaram. So he personally came and with folded palms asked forgiveness, brought gifts for Balaram, and said, surely I'll do exactly as you asked. Samba can marry my daughter. And so it happened. And they married, and Balaram and Samba, his new wife, and the ministers went back to Dwarka without a big battle because of his powerful club. And here's another nice Prabhupada story. And this is on a car ride with Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Giriraj Maharaj and Prabhupada and the driver in the car. And so in a light-hearted mood, Prabhupada asked Giriraj Maharaj, who is stronger, Krishna or Balaram? And immediately Giriraj Maharaj said, Krishna is stronger. And Prabhupada said, but why do you say that? Because Balaram means spiritual strength. And he said, because Krishna is leaning on the shoulder, Balaram is leaning on the shoulder of Krishna, therefore Krishna is stronger. Prabhupada said, very good. During the period of Queen Victoria, she had a prime minister. Pictured here looks like a little grumpy gentleman, but I'm sure he was skilled in various ways to be a prime minister of Queen Victoria. I'm sure he had to be good or you lose your dad. So there's this story that Prabhupada tells about Gladstone. There was somebody that had an appointment to see him. And when the person arrived on time, ahead of time, they were told the Prime Minister is occupied right now, you'll have to wait. So what do you do when you hear that? You wait. So he waited, and he waited, and he waited, and 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour. By the time it was 1 hour, the man became restless. So when the secretary wasn't looking, he snuck in to see the Prime Minister. When he went inside his big office, there was the Prime Minister on his hands and knees with his grandson on his shoulders playing horsey, slapping his grandfather on the backside. Giddy up, horsey. Because he was busy. So the Prabhupada tells the story. A big man may have his formalities when he's in this function of this big man, but his real happiness is the happiness of intimacy. There's a service of being Prime Minister, and there's the happiness of being a grandfather. So there's different relationships that each of us has. And for Krishna and for Balaram, that greatest happiness is the intimacy in Vrindavan. And the intimacy of love between Krishna and Balaram is very special. Particularly in their pastimes as cowherd boys in Vrindavan. Very much loved pastimes. Now, how long did Krishna remain on earth? Approximately 125 years. How long was Krishna living in Vrindavan? 12 years. That's not a big part of 125, but the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan are so celebrated, so famous, so much loved because of that intimacy. The Sanskrit term is madhurya, or sweetness. There's such sweetness in those Vrindavan pastimes, and very central to Krishna's sweet pastimes in Vrindavan is each day he was herding the calves when he was 3 years old. He was a precocious little boy. Usually the boys wouldn't start till they were 5. But Krishna couldn't wait. He was 3. He wanted to go. Little boys that are 3, they can, by that time they're not just walking, they're running. But I'm going to take care of calves. So here's a little story, Krishna story. When Krishna was 3, he went to his mother and said, I want her to go herd the cows. And she said, you're so small. Those cows are so big. You have to wait till you're a little older. He wouldn't take no for an answer, so he went to Maharaj. And he, I want to herd the cows. Maharaj said, in 2 years, when you're 5, you can herd the cows. I want to herd the cows. So they made a compromise. You can take care of the calves. So they had a big festival, Utsav. When this is described in, I think it's Gopal Champu. Big festival because it's the family business, and he's going to start participating in the family business. At 3 years old, so everyone in Vrindavan came and brought gifts. Someone brought Krishna his buffalo horn. Someone gave him his first flute. Someone gave him a turban. Someone gave him a sash to wear around his waist. And Mother Jasoda gave little shoes. In Rajasthan, they have these little shoes that kind of curl at the end. Now they have mylar, but before it was like jewels on the side of the shoes. So she gave to Krishna. And he looked at the shoes, said, I'm not going to wear those shoes unless every single calf has a pair for both front and back hooves. And this white umbrella that you want to put over my head, you have to have an umbrella for each of the calves. Mother Jasoda tried to reason with him and said, but Krishna, cows already have shoes. Nature has given them, they already have. And their body is just fine with the light of the sun. It's just, Providence has made their bodies, and Krishna refused. Doesn't say how it ended, but he certainly went and herded the calves, and the calves didn't wear shoes. I don't know how they did. And when he was 5, then another big ceremony because they went from calves to cows. And his place of residence is called Goloka. Looking at our guest here. I'm in a storyteller mood, I hope it's okay. You don't mind?
No.
Oh, sure?
Sure.
Your kids are like hungry and you want to go and eat or something? Oh, good, okay. Once upon a time I was a little boy. And when I was a little boy, in the town that I grew up in, there was somebody in our school that was from a Christian Science family. Now those of you that are American, you know what Christian Science is. But I didn't have a conversation with that person, so when visiting in a Washington University in St. Louis, I met somebody in the September, the freshman orientation period. Somebody had a Christian Science background. And they came to a little gathering at Juanajiva's home. So I asked them, what American girl, what prompted you to come? She said, I saw a sign saying Bhagavad Gita discussion, and I wanted to come hear it because when I was little, my mother had a Bhagavad Gita. And I was always curious what was in that Bhagavad Gita. I said, how did she get the Bhagavad Gita? She said, she was a Christian Scientist and she had appreciation for these teachings. She said, really? You come from a Christian Science background. Do you mind sharing with me, because I was always curious growing up, what are like the core ideas or teachings of Christian Science? She said, well, I'm not a scholar, but I grew up, and my mother was really well read, so I'll do my best. I said, okay, and since you're interested in Bhagavad Gita, we'll share, this is what Christian Science says, and this is what Bhagavad Gita says. She said, that sounds great. So we started with, in Christian Science, is it very clear that there's a soul different than the body? She said, oh yes. I said, wow, really good. What about what happens to the soul after this life? She said, reincarnation. Very clear. I said, wow. And so in Christian, we say it back. In Christian Science, the soul after this body goes on to another body. And how long does that cycle of birth and death take place? And she said, until you reach the kingdom of God. And I said, great. And then when you reach the kingdom of God, the cycle of birth and death is over, right? She said, right. And I said, what do you do when you get there? And she looked at me and said, well, there's no teaching about that. Then I said, well, how do you know that you're there? I had a purpose in asking that there's a spiritual form. Because then I said, well, how do you know where you are right now? It's through your senses. There's sound and smell and sight and stuff. So you're here because through your senses you can perceive that you're here. So when you're in the spiritual world, there's a spiritual form, right? And it's through the spiritual senses that you can see where you are. You're in the kingdom of God. And she said, I have to think about that. Okay. And what's the place when you get there? She said, well, you just know that you're there. Well, how do you know it's not your imagination that's there? What's it like? What's the travel advertisement? To inspire you to go there. I said, well, it says it takes faith. I said, well, here's what the Vedas teach. I said that place is called Goloka. Remember the image that you were seeing before, it's Krishna, the counterpoise. It's called Goloka. And Goloka literally means, now this is a Christian Science freshman, American girl. What Goloka means, Loka means planet, and cow, Go means cow, it's a planet of cows. I was like, wanted to see what her, blow her mind and see what she would say. She said no. And I said, why no? I said, well, you can't have cows. Well, you can't have cows. I said, it's not cows like these cows, it's surrogate cows. It's transcendental cows that can give unlimited rind. This cow here is a reflection of the cows of the spiritual world. You've heard the expression, as above, so below. He said, yes, of course. So, why do you say no? I said, well, you can't do that song. Like, okay, you hit a wall. Everything was going great, reincarnation, go into the spiritual world and stop the cycle of birth and death. And it's blessed no doubt in Krishna. So, Krishna loves the cows, and the cows love Krishna. And the cowherd boys love Krishna, and Krishna loves the cowherd boys. And everything in the spiritual world, the trees love Krishna, the birds love Krishna, River Jamuna loves Krishna, and Krishna loves all those things. It's a place of love, a land of love. And transcendental, not the other kind. Not where it's what's in it for me kind, but it's just for the pleasure of Krishna kind. Everything. And that's sustained and supported by the spiritual energy of Krishna. There's a famous verse, those of you that have heard Srila Prabhupada speak, you'll recognize this. Krita, Punya, Punja. Punya means piety. Krita means to do or to engage in, to perform acts of piety. Here's the translation. Here is the Supreme Person. This is Shukadeva Goswami speaking about the cowherd boys. Here is the Supreme Person, who is considered the impersonal Brahman by great sages, the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotees, and the product of material nature by ordinary men. Now these boys will perform many, many pious activities in their past lives, are playing with that Supreme Personality of God. The cowherd boys are very fortunate, very special souls. Here's a nice verse from Canto 1, Chapter 2, Srimad Bhagavatam. How do you get there? What's that punya that one can do to get to that position of the spiritual world, or cowherd boy, or whatever? This is the verse. Punya Shravana Kirtana. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous, that is punya, when properly heard and chanted, Shabda Kirtana. This process of what we're doing right now, we're seeing images of Krishna and Balaram, we're hearing messages about Krishna and Balaram, and what's going on at the heart level is the heart is becoming cleansed. Imperceptibly, that may or may not be the intention of coming here, but that's what's happening. Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridyantak Stoya Bhadrani. The abhadras are but becoming cleansed. Now, Balaram is known as Krishna's elder brother, but the mother of Balaram was Rohini. So, for those of you who are newer, this is going to be a little bewildering, so you have to listen carefully. Krishna was first born as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. So when Devaki was married to Vasudeva, there were sisters that were co-wives. So Vasudeva not only married Devaki, but Devaki's sisters. And one of those sisters was named Rohini. So when Vasudeva and Devaki were put into prison, because on the very wedding day, a voice in the sky said to Kamsa that the 8th child of Devaki will kill you, so he put her in prison. He was going to kill her. He was not a nice guy. Vasudeva convinced him, it's not Devaki, but the 8th child of Devaki. So I will give you each of the children born of Devaki, and you can do what you like. But it's your sister. You won't be appreciated if you kill your sister on her wedding day. Please, don't bring infamy to yourself. It's the 8th child. So one by one, the first 6 boys that were born were given to Kamsa to kill them. Child number 7 was Balaram. Listen carefully. In the 7th month of Devaki's pregnancy with Balaram, Krishna called Yogamaya, his internal potency, and said, I have some service for you. Yes, some service. Tell me. Transfer this child of Devaki into the womb of Rohini. Now, what happened was, Rohini, one of the co-wives of Vasudeva, in the 3rd month of her pregnancy, was sent from Mathura to stay at the home of his friend, Vasudeva's friend, Nanda Maharaj. Rohini was pregnant. And so by 3 months, and the 7th month of Devaki's pregnancy, transferred this child to the womb of Rohini. So by Yogamaya's power, that child in the womb of Rohini, Devaki, was transferred to the womb of Rohini, and the 2 male children merged into one child, or entered into the form of one child, so it's 2 in the womb of Rohini. And listen carefully, please. That child in the womb of Rohini, during her 3rd month of pregnancy, remained in her womb for another 11 months. There's a long pregnancy, goes into your mothers. Poor Rohini. Such that Balaram's appearance took place, and 8 days later, Krishna's appearance took place. You follow? Should I say it again? I'll say it again. Balaram is Rohini Nandana because he was born as boys. Vasudeva had co-wives. The Devaki became pregnant with her 7th child before Rohini became pregnant with her 1st child. Rohini was 3 months pregnant when she was sent to go to be in the care of Nanda and Yasoda. And during the 7th month of Devaki's pregnancy, Yogamaya transferred that male child, who was Balaram, into the womb of Rohini, who merged with the child that was in the womb of Rohini already, by mystical arrangement. That child, from her 3rd month of pregnancy, remained in her womb for another 11 months, or a total of 14 months. This is our chariots. And the reason, then the 8th child of Devaki was born. 8 days after Rohini's child was born. So Balaram is the elder brother. Krishna is the younger brother. And the reasoning goes like this. The name-giving ceremony was done for both at the same time. The descriptions of their childhood pastimes is they would crawl together. So commonly, Jiva Goswami explains, children are at the crawling stages on their knees for a year and a half. And then after a year and a half, they start toddling, called toddlers. So then they were toddling together. And then they would perform other pastimes. So they're the same age, just 8 days difference. So sometimes it's a puzzle, but there's the answer to the puzzle, how it happened. Rohini Nandana, Balaram. Here's a nice painting of Mother Earth down here in the form of a cow, came to Lord Brahma, appealing to Lord Brahma and the demigods for relief of the burden of earth of demoniac kings. So they went to the shore of the milk ocean. You can tell it's a milk ocean because there's the fish and some aquatic birds. This is Lord Vishnu on the bed of Anantashesh. There's Garuda and the goddess of fortune Lakshmi. And they're appealing for Vishnu, help, relieve the earth of the burden of demoniac kings. So Vishnu confirmed he would do that. And he appeared here as the son of Nanda and Yashoda. So here's the bathing ceremony for Krishna. There's another image of the bathing ceremony. And look over here. Balaram. And they're making various offerings to Krishna and so forth. There's another nice painting. This is a very interesting way for a baby. This was after the first demon that Krishna killed, Putana. Mother Yasoda was in big anxiety. Oh, there must be some hex cast on Krishna, so get the brahmanas and say various mantras and pour sacred water on Krishna. Krishna's enjoying having his abhishek, and Balaram is enjoying watching the fun. Then comes the name-giving ceremony, where Gargamuni is giving names for both Krishna and Balaram. arranged by Nanda Maharaj. It was arranged in a cowshed for a very particular reason. Gargamuni reasoned that if Kamsa comes to know that I, the chief priest, have arranged for this name-giving ceremony in a public place, Kamsa will come to know and he'll put two and two together and come up with four. This child is that eighth child of Devaki, so he did it in a quiet, private, appropriate for Krishna place, a cow shed. And here's what he said about Balaram. This child, the son of Rohini, will give all happiness to his relatives and friends by his transcendental qualities. Therefore, he'll be known as Rama. And because he will manifest extraordinary bodily strength, he will also be known as Bala. Moreover, because he unites two families, that's Vasudev's family and the family of Nanda Maharaj, he'll be known as Sankarshana. And then about Krishna he said, "Oh Nanda Maharaj, this child of yours, your son Krishna, is as good as Narayana." He didn't say he is Narayana. Be very careful. He didn't want to disturb the mood of love of Nanda. So he is as good as, in his transcendental qualities, opulence, name, fame, and influence, exactly like Narayana. And later, when Krishna performed miraculous pastimes, Nanda Maharaj was remembering, I remember very well, Gargamuni said, he'll be powerful like Narayana and have qualities like Narayana. So what Gargamuni said is true. He's become like that. That's his horoscope. So from the earliest of stages of life, the two brothers grew up together, having great affection. Now these are transcendental source of everything personalities, embracing, playing, feeding one another, looking into each other's eyes and having happiness like little children know how to do, but in a transcendental way. Sometimes when they were crawling, the gopis would clap, and so Krishna would move here and there, reciprocating with their singing and their clapping. Sometimes many gopis would come and they would expand into two Krishnas and two Balarams to give them pleasure and satisfaction. The cowherd men, similarly, Krishna was the delight of not just the ladies, but the cowherd men as well. And they had childhood pastimes. Sometimes they'd go into the pasturing grounds and pull on the tail of the calf. And the calf would become startled, and the calf would start running. And Krishna and Balaram were going for a ride and having a great time. And then different gopis would react differently. Some would be, "Oh, Krishna's in trouble." And others would laugh, and others would just be astonished at the playfulness of Krishna. In other words, he touched the hearts of different personalities in different ways, all in this parental affection. And with Mother Yasoda, they would play like little boys would play. Sometimes pulling her hair, sometimes pulling her ornaments, and she would protest, but at the same time she'd love it. Just like mothers today. This is transcendental. What we find here, the parental affection here, is but a reflection of the spiritual counterpart. And in the spiritual counterpart, Krishna and Balaram are fulfilling the pure, transcendental love of Mother Yasoda in perfect reciprocation. And this is our last slide. There's more, but it's almost 7 o'clock. So, because Krishna Janmashtami is coming very soon, you'll hear some announcements, I'm sure. Maybe you'll be inspired to read Krishna book or read your Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, and the early pastimes of Krishna with Krishna and Balaram, and prepare yourselves for Krishna Janmashtami, because this Shravana, Punya Shravana Kirtanam is the way to really enter into the mood of Krishna Janmashtami. Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai. So where's our, you ready?
Yeah, he's going to make the announcement.
Who's going to? Okay.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for a wonderful narration of Masters of Krishna. Let us all express our gratitude to His Holiness Lord Swami by saying Haribo! 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 So, for most of you who are new to our temple, you will see that Sri Radha Madhava is on the altar, but once every year, the pictures you see above is the picture of Sri Radha Shyamsundar. They give us their divine darshan once every year, right before Janmashtami. So Sri Radha Shyamsundar will be appearing on our altar on Wednesday evening, and we will have the grand Janmashtami festival all the way till Sunday evening. So please, I request you all to come every day and take the darshan and the blessings of the deities. And also, how many of you have children here? And how many of you are bringing them for the Janmashtami festival? So, this is more an administrative announcement. As part of our child protection program, all children under 12 years should be monitored by a parent or a guardian always. So there's going to be a lot of people around here, so we kindly request you to monitor your children. We don't know who's walking in the doors and whatnot, so please kindly watch your children. And also there'll be a lot of cars, and then we have a big pandal program and everything. So please, don't take it for granted that this is a safe place. We have a lot of new people who are coming here. We don't know who is walking in. So please kindly watch your children. And that is a mandate of, monitoring children under 12 years and under is an ISKCON policy. So every child should be monitored. Lastly, today's Sunday feast is usually, it's only possible by the generous donors, and we have 3 sponsors today. The first sponsor today is Pratibha Prabhu and Katamrita Mataji. They are celebrating their 21st marriage anniversary. Pratibha Prabhu, and anybody from the family, please kindly come and receive Maharaja from Maharaj. The next two announcements are for the generous donors. First one is Sharonan Prabhu, celebrating his birthday, has sponsored a Vitala brick for the building of our temple. Anybody from Sharonan Prabhu's family here? Please kindly come and take prashad. Okay. The second one is Subhata Mataji, celebrating her anniversary. She also sponsored a Vitala brick. Lastly, if anybody is willing to sponsor Sunday feast or Vitala, please kindly reach out to Sumamala Mataji here, and she will also be announcing the Janmashtami announcements.
Hare Krishna. You're all charged up with a wonderful lecture. Thank you, Maharaj. Lecture. Lot of announcements about the Janmashtami festival. As I'm speaking, there are lots of activities are going on. From past 4 months, the preparations are going on. So it is the exam time next week, and we need all your blessings and prayers and support and be here. Firstly, I would like to, call upon Stoka Krishna Prabhu for announcing the fundraising activities.
Thank you, Mataji. So, I just wanted to ask one more time, how many of y'all plan to come on 23rd, which is Friday? Can you please raise your hands so we get an idea? So we are going to be having plenty of opportunities. First of all, we would like to invite you, your family and your extended family to join us for this event. Number two, we have plenty of opportunities for volunteer help. If you can help, we need a lot of volunteers, and we're doing this. But along with that, I just was wanting to display an opportunity, which is a golden kalash, which is of course not gold, but this has got a lot of Meena work on it. It has come from Vrindavan, and you have the opportunity of donating $500 for this, so that you can offer Abhishek to the Lordship and carry back the Charnamrit in this. And then this is for you to keep and do whatever you'd like to do to your deities or your wishes. The second that I just wanted to let you know that we are going to be having a midnight Aarti. The midnight Aarti will be, we have very limited Aarti plates that are there, and it is at $251. So we encourage you to please come in time, join us for this preparation. And then we also have a couple other sponsorships. We have Sri Sri Radha Shyamsundar dress for 1001. We have the Mahakalash Abhishek, which I already talked about. The midnight Aarti is being covered. We have Rajbhog for $251. And we have Sri Sri Radha Shyamsundar garlands for 101. And Archana plates. Now we have Archana plates which we are going to be giving to you when you come in, if you'd like, and that would be at $31. So this would be something that you can consider, and we'd be very grateful for you all to all join us. We would want you all to spread the word and invite your friends and family and far away friends that are there. So without this, I'll pass it back to you.
So that was the announcement. Might be wondering every time, every week from past 1 month, these people are coming and announcing. The efforts are that these funds, whatever the Janmashtami, it's a once in a year fundraising activity. These temples, we are coming every week, we are, having our kids come here, learn them. But it does not run just like that magically. We have, monthly donors, but still this once in a year Janmashtami fundraising that goes for the entire 1 year maintenance. So this is 1 year, once in a year. So whatever you are doing for Janmashtami, that goes for the entire 1 year funds maintenance for the temple. So please do consider. I know a lot of commitments are there, but still do consider and reach out to Stoka Krishna Prabhu and Shyam Prabhu. Now moving on to the next one about marketing. Last year we have seen on the Facebook the count 300 families accepted to come and about 1200 families interested. But this year I'm seeing only 125 something like that. So we all need your help. So the immediate thing is it's already there on Vaishnavi group and Vaishnava group in the WhatsApp. Go to the Facebook, please click share with your families and friends. Because that's the one thing that we could do because we are on the phones whole day. So it takes 5 minutes to forward to your friends. So I'm requesting everybody, please do share with your friends and families and personally invite them. And next is the parking. Please be aware, I'm going to make 2 announcements about the parking. I don't want you all to come here and have difficulty, so please hear carefully. There are going to be 2 parkings. One is general public. When you come, you are volunteering something here. Like, if you come in the morning and you are doing some service, you are going to park on the right side of the building here. And at 4 o'clock, you have to remove your cars. If cars are not removed by 4 o'clock, you can remove your car only after the event is done. No exceptions. Because there will be thousands of people and you cannot get car out. So remember what time you need to pull out your cars? Please.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, 4 p.m. If not, your car is stuck till midnight or the event ends. In between, no exceptions. If you have an emergency, please arrange for your cab. Okay. So that's 4 p.m. We are making, last time we blocked it. We don't want any confusion, so we blocked that entire parking lot. But then I said, okay, volunteers are coming and they are doing so much of work, so we reserved that parking for volunteers. So 4 p.m. cars should be out. The next parking is, if you are coming late, you have to find the parking on the Bond Street or the other streets. There will be an email sent out by Pratibhavu Prabhu Communication. Where is all the parking? It's all clear directions, which all places are allowed for parking. So please don't assume anything. Don't drive up here and say, oh, parking is not there, not good services are provided. Please follow the instructions that are going to be sent by Pratibhavu Prabhu in the communications. Follow the parking instructions. And next, volunteers. I am running short of. Can anybody guess how many volunteers I am running short of? Just a guess number.
20.
150. Prabhuji said. Any other guesses?
20.
No, you got to think higher, Mataji. Please, guess. I really want to see how your wild guess can go.
60.
I need about 70 volunteers. 70. And I have only 1 week time left. So please, just don't walk up to the prasadam. Please stop by the desk there. And please, I really humbly request everybody. Without this, we cannot do the festival. Imagine 4,000, 5,000 people coming, and if things are not organized, they wouldn't have a good memory here, that whole, memory of coming and taking darshan. So please remember, when you are walking out, they are looking for 70 volunteers, so let me volunteer for 1 hour. Please think in that way. Okay, and one last one. We were reaching out for the business communities outside, and Sandeep Patel Prabhu and team, they did a wonderful job. We got 15 sponsorships from the outside business. So how much support we are getting from the outside, we need the same support from temple core devotees. Let's give a big round of applause for Sandeep Patel. And Kathamrita Mataji and the teams, each and every team of the festivals, they are putting so many hours. They did a preparation today. They were doing we all go to work, right? We do dry runs, mock cutovers, all that. So they did dosa cutover today. So can you believe that? Dosa cutover. So they are doing all the preparations and everything. So please do encourage and please be considerative for volunteering. Any questions for any feedback or anything you have creative ideas, please don't hesitate to stop by. You can come and help me out or give me some guidance. And last but not the least, I would like to request all the devotees' prayers and blessings. Thank you so much. It's all teamwork. So please keep all team in the prayers. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.